Welcome back to another study time with KP. I'm KP, and today we're just doing some more practice database management. Right, we have a very nice question which covering a lot of areas that you would have done some revision and practice on before. So without any further ado, right, we know the exam right around the corner, just a couple days from now, Friday. Can you believe it? The time just run off so fast. But guess what? Just stick to your plan, study and practice. Study and practice, right? So let's, without any further ado, let's continue and start practicing. The question says, the payment of salaries was prepared and data stored in the database tables below. We have three tables: staff, salary, and bank. Now, staff has staff ID, first name, last name, full time. Salary has check num, bank code, staff ID, hours, salary, check date, delivery time, and bank. The column fields are bank code, bank name, right? So take a moment when you get questions like this to try to get familiar with the tables, try to understand what is being stored in the tables, all right? So the first question says, name 5 different data types used in the tables above. Now, when we're talking about data types, we're simply saying what kind of values are we expecting in each field. That's what we normally do when we create a database and we create tables. We tell what data type we're expecting in each field. So let's go through the fields and see what data types we come up with, right? Staff ID. Staff ID looks like a number, right? So we begin with a number. First name, last name, those look like text to me. Text. Full time, yes or no? Yes or no? What kind of data type would that be? That's actually a data type in the database, Access database, called yes, no, and referred to as a logical data type, and some may be Boolean. In salary table, we have check num, which we think is another number. We have number already. Bank code, number. Staff ID looks like a number to me. Hours looks like a number. And look at salary. Salary looks like currency. What about check date? Check date is actually a date field. So it's date time field. And delivery time is actually a date time field, right? So have we covered all 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 data types, right? Okay. Let's move to the next question. State the most appropriate field which could be used as the primary key for all 3 tables. Indicate the reason for your choice. So let's look back at the tables. What could we, let's start with staff. What could be the primary key? Now remember, what is the primary key? Primary key is usually a field that is you use to uniquely identify each record, right? So you would not have any repeats of that number or key, right, within the table. So what field in the staff table would allow us to uniquely identify each staff? So look at the columns. I would say the primary key would be staff ID. For the salary table, what would uniquely identify each of these records, right? the best bet for me is the check number. So I would put that as the primary key. And for the bank code would be a perfect primary key. Right? So in our response to the question, we would say for the staff table, right? Right? Primary key, staff ID, with the salary table, primary key would be what? Primary key would be check num, right? And for the bank table, the primary key would be the bank code. Let's double check that to make sure that that's what's it. Bank code. Right? Now, what is the reason for a choice? Well, we explained it. We said it a while ago. We chose those columns because each of those fields would uniquely identify the records in the table, right? You want to say something to that effect, right? Right? So, okay. So moving on to the next question. What most appropriate field that can be used to link or join salary and staff table? What's the most appropriate field that can be used to join salary and staff? And when we're joining, what it simply means now is that we're trying to link the tables. What links staff to salary? So when we look, we notice that there is a staff ID in the staff table, and there's also a staff ID in the salary table. So that to me could be the most appropriate link between the salary and the staff table. So we say that we use the staff ID field, right? Moving on, identify the foreign keys to which the bank and salary tables are linked. Foreign keys, right? So what we know as the foreign keys, we look at the bank and the salary table, right? So bank code is the primary key in bank table. At bank and we are looking at salary, we see the bank code in the salary table as well. And that tells us that bank code is the foreign key in the salary table. So the bank table and the salary table are linked through the bank code. All right, moving on. If the data, let's moving on. If the data in the salary table were sorted, salary table were sorted by the staff ID field in descending order. We know descending order is Z to A, right? So if the data in the salary table is sorted by staff ID field in descending order. State the staff ID and full name of the staff who would be in the fourth, at the fourth from the top. Wow, that's a lot. So let's go again. We're looking at the salary table and we're sorting by staff ID in descending order. So let's do that first part. We're going to sort by staff ID in descending order on the salary table. So let's look at that. So we'll look at staff ID and we're going descending order. So I'll start by the biggest number we have here is staff ID. So that would be at the top, descending order. What's the next number we have? So we have 8, 9. Then we have 70, 11. The 70, 11 would be 4, 5, 3, 2, 9. So 4, 5, 2, 9. What's the next number? 2, 3, 5, 9. Right? So that would be fourth. Next one would be after 2, 3, 5, 9. What would come next? 14, 5th, 12, 6, and 7. Right? So the question, this is how it would be sorted, right? This is 5. So the question says no. After we've sorted in descending order, and if it's not letters, when doing number descending order, is going to be the largest to the smallest, right? So we've sorted it in descending order. It says now to state the staff ID and full name of the staff who would be at the fourth from the top. So the fourth from the top would be this person. Staff ID 2359. So we know we're looking for 2359 and we're going to follow. This is a table, so we're going to look for 2359. Follow this link. Where is 2359? 2359 is here. And the person's name is Blue Handle. So the answer to that question would be 2359 Blue Handle. That's the staff ID equal to, and the full name be equal to Blue Handle. Full. Following so far? All right. Let's move to the next one. State what type of relationship is formed between salary and bank table. The salary and bank table, let's look at it again. What kind of relationship? So we look at the bank table and the salary table, and we know that they are linked through the bank code. So what this tells me, when I look in the salary table, I notice that there are repeats of the bank code, right? I see repeats, right? So what does that tell me? It tells me that the bank code for one bank, I can have many, and this is the infinity sign. I can have many checks going to the one bank, right? but for one check, it can only go to one bank. So the relationship between the bank and the salary table would be a one-to-many relationship. State how many records would be returned for a query that finds all part-time staff. A query that finds, we want to know how many records will come back for the query that finds all part-time staff. Let's go to the staff table. Let's see if we can find that information. To find that out, we would use the full-time column, right? And full-time would be yes, that's my assumption. So part-time would be no. So the query we're looking for is a query that finds all part-time staff. So if we look at it, the staff that would be part-time would have no, right? So how many records would come back? That would be 2 records. 2 records would come back. So how many? 2. State the field name and the order of the record which are sorted in the salary table. The field name, want the field name and the order of the record which are sorted in the salary table. So we look at the salary table and we're going to try to determine what order are these records sorted in, right? So we start at the beginning. We look at the check number. We notice that it is going, these are increasing, right? Right? So my assumption would be here that the salary table is sorted on the check number. And because the number is increasing, right, starts from smallest to largest, I would say it is going in ascending order. So the field name would be check num, and it is being sorted by, it is sorted by, let me go back over, sorted by check num in ascending order. Right? Not too bad, right? A query was created to show all staff members paid less than $1,000. All staff members paid less than $1,000. How many records will be displayed when the query is executed? So another query. Now we need to find all staff members paid less than $1,000. So we're going to the salary table to see if we can get that information. And the best column we're seeing to get that from would be salary, right? So we would want, the query would now want paid less than $1,000, which means what? Less than $1,000 mean less than, salary would mean salary less than 1,000. That's what you'd write. That's what the query would be looking for. Salary less than 1,000. So we want all staff members paid less than $1,000. So look at it. So this is less than $1,000. What else? This is less than $1,000. So when you start seeing 2 records, which staff is this? So we follow the trail. We follow in the row. Staff ID 2359 and staff ID 4529. So we know that we're looking for 2 staff ID 2359, and we're looking for 4529. Right? So the question, let's make sure we're answering what it's asking. It says, how many records? How many records will be displayed when the query is executed? So the answer is 2 records. 2 records would be displayed. Right? That's the answer. So we have to be mindful. Look at what the question is asking us for, and ensure that we answer the question, right? Because you wouldn't get the mark if you only left it at staff ID 2359. That's not the question they asked you. They asked us how many records. So we need to answer the question that was asked, right? Complete the following query to determine the staff member paid less than $750. So you see, you notice that we're doing a lot of queries, right? Work our query muscles so we get better at it, right? So question says again, complete the following query to determine the staff member paid less than $750 after August 1st, 2023. So that's a combined criteria, right? You have more than one criteria here. Complete the following query to determine the staff member paid less than $750 after August 1st, 2023. So we would put a criteria on the salary column, and that criteria says what? Less than 750, right? And the next one would be after. What is after? So it's greater than, we're using our number sign, greater than August 1st, 2023. So those would be the criteria we use for this query. The number sign, so the number sign here, surrounding the date, so that we can distinguish between a string value as opposed to be a date. So Access recognize that this value enter is a date, right? And that would be the answer for number 10. Let's continue. How many records will be displayed in the results of the query? Now, if we run this query, how many records would we get? So we're looking for a salary less than $750. Right? Let me use another color. Salary less than $750. So we only have one record here with salary less than $750. However, the query is not done, right? There's an and, right? Not seeing it, but they're on the same line, which means there's an and. We expect that you're saying you want members that are paid less than $750, and the check date, right, is after August 1st, 2023. So let us check for that one record that we found. Is the check date after August 1st, 2023? No. So that means for this query, we would get 0 results. All right. So look back at that again, 750, date being greater than, because they say after, so it'll be after August 1st, and this record is at August 1st, so it would not be included. So this question, identify the check num in the order in which the results would be extracted after running the query below. So we're saying after the query is executed, what order, what would the check number what order would the check numbers be presented in, right? So this query says that what? It's bringing back staff ID, check num, first name, last name, salary, and bank name. And we are looking at the criteria, and the criteria says where first name is like a asterisk is the wild card, right? So we're getting back all the staff information as per the query, the columns that are in the query, right? Where the first name is like A, this first name starts with A, right? And we are also going to get it in ascending order by last name, right? So let's do it first part. Let's identify all the records. Let's sort the records in ascending order where the first name is like A. So first, let us identify all the staff with first name starting with A. So the staff with first name starting with A would be these two here, Austral and Atticus, right? Those two persons would be first name starting with A. What's the next thing that we need to make sure we're doing? We need to now sort it in ascending order by the last name. So if we sort these two in ascending order, which means we're starting from A to Z, right? A to Z would mean that Bird would be first and Hunt would be second. What do we need to do? We need to tell what the check numbers would be in that order. So you notice everything that we're doing here, we're doing it step by step. So these would be 1, 2. We need to get the check number. So to get the check number, we need to go to the salary table. So we're going to look for the check number based on the staff ID. So let's look for the staff ID, right? Staff ID 1203, 1203, 1203, and this check number would be, right? And then now check number for 1432, 1432, looking for 1432. There you go. And the check number for that would be, so we would write, the question asked us for what? Check number in the order in which the results would be extracted. So we know ascending order based on last name. So we would show Bird's number first, which would be the orange, which is 631201110. See if I can remember that. 6312 6312 0110 0110, right? That would be for Bird. That's how it's spelled. Yes. And then next one would be 63120109. So we know it's sorted, so one above the other. So the next one would be 63120109. And that would be, which person is that? Hunt. All right. And we're making sure that we're putting the right thing. So bird is 1110. Bird is 11110. And hunt, which is purple, hunt is number 2, would be 109. Right? That one took a lot out of us, right? But the idea is slow down, read it, break the question apart, do step by step, right? Draw on the paper. That's how you're going to visualize what's happening. And then you answer the question, you double check to make sure that you answered what was asked, right? Number 12. A report was created from the tables. State 2 fields which could be used to group the data in the report, right? So usually you choose your group by field when you have, it can be anything, but generally use a field that you'll have repeats, right, in the table. So we could use the bank code. Bank code could be used as a group by field. What else? We could even use check date, right? The date. So I could put those 2 fields as fields that we could use in group by. So we could use bank code and check date, right? Let's double check. Check date and bank code. Now, next one, which is the last question on this section. Complete the table by selecting the most suitable database features, right? List of staff with salary paid to National Bank, but in ascending order. Now we look at something like that. A list of staff with salary paid to National Bank, but in ascending order. So what do I see from this? I see a criteria that says bank must be National Bank, and we should be doing some sort of sorting, right? So I would say this would be a query, and we're also doing some sorting, right? How many staff members are full-time? Now, how many would tell me that's a count, right? How many? A count. So to me, that would be a calculated field. An overview of staff members, and their salary route by bank. An overview. What could give you an overview? Which one of these would give you an overview? I think report would be the best one to get a overview or a summary, right, of the data. So it show you all the staff members, and then you could group them by the bank that they're using, that their salary goes to, right? So that would be a report. Add new staff and salaries generated. Now, if you're going to add data to the database, which one of these would be the most suitable feature to use? Right? You're adding. The best one here would be a form. So you create a form, and on the form you can know, it gives you it gives you an easier way to add data to the database, right? So a form would be the best option here. Last one, total salary paid for the month of August. Again, it's asking for the total salary paid for the month of August. Just by reading that, you know, some calculation is going to happen. So I would say that's another calculated field. And bonus question, let us see how we would handle this one. Write the calculated field called tax, which will calculate 20% tax on the salary paid for each staff, right? So let's look at how we would address this now. So we know that, right? Put it here. So the fee will be called, let's call it tax, right? And we'll put colon. So this is the syntax. This is how we write it in the query window, right? Tax. And what are we going to use? We're going to use the salary column from the, not this, the salary column from the salary table, right? Salary. So we use square brackets once we're using a column from the table, salary. And we're going to multiply that by 20%, which is 0 0.2. 0 0.2. That's 20%. And that would be our calculated field. Tax, salary times 0 0.2. And that's the end of this question. You notice we had a lot of queries, you know, included. Just flex that query muscle, right? Becomes like second nature because you're practicing it so often, right? So I hope you learned something, and that's it for today. Study time with KP. Bye.